Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today is Thursday Thoughts. Welcome, Lesley.
Good morning, Nancy. How are you?
It's a good day to talk about overwhelm because I'm a little overwhelmed
True
today.
story.
Here's the thing about overwhelm. I remember reading or hearing Marie Forleo say in an interview, someone said to her, Marie Forleo, really big coach, if you guys don't know her, she said, someone said to her, how do you handle overwhelm? And she said, oh, I don't do overwhelm.
I've
And
heard
then
that too. And I can't even fathom.
right. How do you not do overwhelm? It's a decision that you don't use the word overwhelm anymore. You say, I'm really busy today. I have a lot going on in my life today. The minute you use the word overwhelm, it kind of makes you feel overwhelmed, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're done. That word just sort of shuts everything down.
Yeah, yeah. So in the past, and I think I wrote this in my book, I used to, I had three sick kids, a marriage, a business, a dog. I had friends. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm like everyone else, right? You have all these relationships and all these people you support. And every once in a while, even if you don't do overwhelm, you definitely feel like you've got a lot on your plate and it's hard to handle,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Right, and you've had it this week, right? You have a sick kid home today? You had a
I
sick
do. He just
Tuesday?
snuck into my office and snuck back out because why not? Why not? That's life and parenting and work. And there's a lot to be overwhelmed by. Even if we choose not to use that word, there's just we all have a life outside of business and personal things impact us, professional things, sick kids, sick pets. Everyone needs everything by certain times, and it's a lot to handle.
It is, and when I was younger and had young kids, I used to joke around and say, and it really wasn't a joke, I'd say, "I exercise every morning, and I have a glass of wine every night," and that was absolutely true. And so my friends would say, "I don't know how you handle everything." I'm like, "I exercise every morning, and I have a glass of wine every night." Now I don't exercise every morning, and I don't have a glass of wine every night. So what happens now? Oh, right. So
Yeah.
we wanted to talk today a little bit about how you and I handle overwhelm or when we're super busy or life throws us a curve that we didn't expect. So today my dog is sick. I have to bring her to the vet. She can't even walk. And you have a sick kid home. So this was such a great topic. So I'm going to take like number one tip was what you said to me, but I actually did this morning. So I wanted to talk about it. Look at my calendar and cancel anything I can. And I chose not to cancel this live because it is before the vet appointment that I have for my dog. But that's something you do often also, right?
I have to. I mean, we've all got full calendars. I don't know about you. I feel like you're probably fairly similar. I love to time block. Like my calendar's booked out for the next couple weeks. I leave a little bit of margin, but I mean, I don't leave margin for a day with a kid at home that completely upends everything. So when I am feeling that like I can't get it all done, that's when I just look at my calendar and say, are there any meetings I can move without compromising the relationship or the project? Is there anyone I can just gently explain, hey, can we reschedule? Or is there anything that really wasn't or is no longer a priority that you can just flat out cancel and say, I'm sorry, but I'm no longer available for this committee meeting, networking event, whatever it might be? That alone, just knowing that you can give yourself an hour of extra breathing room can make the difference from completely spinning and panicking to feeling more in control and being able to take those steps to get the things done that need to happen.
Absolutely. And you remember yesterday in one of our Profit Insider groups, right? Somebody who is really working super hard on growing her business and she's doing an amazing job
Yeah.
said, I took everything extra off my calendar and just decided to spend time with my family this week. I've been advising people sort of get out of the rat race for a week and tell your clients if you have to, and this is rare that I give this advice, but sometimes you have to do it, is say you're under the weather and take the week to get yourself organized, both in your personal life and your business life. Say no to things. Years ago, I had a client who was completely overwhelmed, and I had her open up her calendar and look at her next 2 weeks, and we took 3 things off her calendar. And just these 3 things were like a networking event. Why do you have to go to that? Well, because people are expecting me to show up. And I'm like, but do you actually have a goal for that networking meeting
Yeah.
besides other people's expectations on you? And she's just
Love
like,
that.
no. And I'm like, you're not looking for new business. You're not looking for a new collaboration. You're not, no, I'm just going because everyone expects me to go. And I'm like, bingo, take it off. Start to really analyze why you have things on your calendar. What are the
Yes.
reasons? And does that match your goals, your priorities, and your core values for that time in your life? And if it doesn't, learn to start accepting the fact that people may not be pleased with you all the time because you're not on the phone with them as much, you're not communicating as much, you're not going to things as much. It's part of the process is saying no to friends, families, and sometimes clients too.
Yep. Priorities change, and it's okay that if you said yes to something a month ago and for some reason it no longer fits your schedule, your priorities, your values, it's okay to say no.
It's okay to say no. Talk about number 3, which was something you and I both do.
Oh, brain dumping. I am someone, everything swims, I find that the more I have to do, the less I get done because it's all just swirling and I can't focus and I can't prioritize. And I know, Nancy, that you have done this with some of our coaching clients, which found so valuable. And you tell them, just give me the list, dump out the list of what you have to do. I will pick a priority for you to start with. And just getting things out of your head, whether it's onto paper. For me, I often put it into Asana, my task manager, and I just put every single task. It's a bit overwhelming to get it out, but then
Yes.
there's control. And you can look
Right.
and say, okay, this really does have to get done today to meet a tomorrow deadline. But these 3 things have to do with something next week. I could push those. And it's a
Yes.
way to get that swimmy soup, get some control over it, feel empowered and make progress. And it's like, those little baby steps matter. Knocking, I'm a checklist girl. You put that little check mark and it crosses
Me
off, and it
too.
is just so satisfying. If you can start making progress, everything gets easier. When you don't know where to start and it's just like this cloud hanging over you, I end up sitting here frozen on Facebook, not getting anything done.
It's so funny. And I've only recently started to do that for their clients who have the Voxer support, the walkie talkie, the My Business Helpline. And yeah, when they're like, I just don't even know where to start, I'm like, tell me a list of 10 or 20 things, literally, just repeat them to me. And then I go, do this one first, do this one second, do this one third, and then tell me when you're done.
Yeah.
And it just kickstarts them. So if you don't have a coach or you don't have a accountability buddy, try this, try this. Call someone in the morning. These are the 20 things I have to do today, and let them set your priority. And it's amazing when you are accountable to someone else, how it
Yes.
kickstarts you and gets your wandering brain, because a lot of creatives have ADHD or ADD, or have problems concentrating at times. Seems to be very common with creatives, that this helps you. It helps you, like, okay, so and so told me to do this one thing. Let me do that first. And it just kicks you into action. So I love that one. Okay. The next one, hire for business when you need help, but don't forget you can hire for your personal life too. It's huge.
Yep.
Like, people forget, years ago, when I was running Expressive Living, the art consulting firm that I ran for 17 years, I had a young family. The laundry was out of control. I literally someone said, well, why don't you bring your laundry to a laundromat? I'm like, I can do that? Like, I never even thought of that. It comes from the laundromat. You bring it in, it's like this huge bag and weighs 15 pounds and doesn't cost you anything more. At the time, it was $15, I think. You weigh it, you get it back, a package this size, all folded tight. And I was like, that was the best $15 I've ever spent, that I don't have to worry about the laundry going in the washer and then getting it into the dryer before it stinks and not having to run it again. Like, we've all done that. You can hire, you can source out for babysitting, for
Yeah.
mother's helpering, for errands. You go to a site like care.com, and there are people out there that are helping with food prep, with everything in your life, errands. So I have hired one of my children to start helping me in my personal life, because I now take care of my father's needs, my own needs, my dog who's sick today, my children. And sometimes I just need an extra set of hands in my personal life also. This is something that people don't realize they can do. So I highly recommend thinking about hiring in your personal life if you're overwhelmed, or if you need someone in your business life. There are people who can, we know, we teach this all the time, hire virtually, hire local. And there are people who are willing to do small jobs. And then there are people who are willing to do big jobs. So what kind of help do you have around the house?
I have someone that comes and cleans every couple weeks, which is the biggest. I love that's such a luxury to not have to worry about that. I'm a
Mhm.
big fan of the grocery ordering. It might take me 15 minutes to plan and order, but then I don't have to go to the stupid store and deal with that's easily 1 hour saved. And that's not even really it's not a huge thing to do. Like you might pay a $5 or $10 premium to have your groceries delivered. Okay, if you can earn $150 in that hour you save, it is a complete no-brainer to get
Yes.
that help. And I'm sure there's other things I'm not even thinking of because they're just so part of our routine now, but those are a couple for sure that have been a big help. And you made such a good point, Nancy, is we always think about hiring for our business, and that's a great thing too. But if you can hire someone to help in your home life, take some of that mental burden, allow you to truly have downtime, you're not spending your Saturday cleaning or getting groceries, whatever it might be, you work 1 or 2 more productive, satisfying hours at your hourly rate, it
Yes.
more than pays for itself. You're actually costing yourself money by doing a lot of these things in your own home. When you are a business owner and you have that infinite ceiling on your income, you can make this work so easily and financially. Like it helps everybody. It's a win-win all the way around. And you're helping employ somebody
Absolutely.
else. You're paying someone else's wages too, which is such a blessing for them.
It is, it's so true. Okay, and I could literally do a whole live about this because over the years I've had to hire for very different things, and your 2 things I did. I mean, I still do. I have a house cleaner every other week, and I don't do the grocery delivery anymore, but that's part of what my personal assistant's gonna start helping me with
Nice.
is right? And getting ingredients for a recipe and having it in the house so that I can put it together quickly. Like, things like that make such a huge difference. When you're making a certain amount being who you are as an interior designer or as a coach, and then you're doing things that you could hire someone out to do it so much less money.
Yeah.
It really is worth the trade-off. So, all right, the next one is kind of funny because you and I said, "What do you do when you're overwhelmed?" I
Oh.
cry. Like,
Well, or I hold it in and then I can't get past it. Crying is probably a better step to like I think what the important thing is cry, dance, meditate, listen to music, get those feelings out somehow. I like to
yes.
hold them all in and pretend everything is okay and just secretly stew and die inside. But if
Yep.
I would just let myself cry, if I would put on some pumped up music or my favorite song, it is amazing how that can impact your mood, and you know so much about this.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, this is a message I leave often for my clients on my business helpline. Like, I put on music this morning and danced because I didn't feel like working today. And you know what? It helped. And now I feel like working. So do what you have to do that's productive, right?
Mhm.
There are healthy ways of dealing with overwhelm and stress, and there's unhealthy ways, right? So, healthy ways are exercise, crying, dancing, reaching out to a friend. I go over this in the first section of my book, actually, because it's so important to learn how to decompress so you don't hold it in, because
Yeah.
holding it in is going to come out in other ways in your health in the future. So, I've been the master of that, and I'll talk about that in the future. But yeah, when you hold too much in and you're always the strong one, so what's shit's happening on the inside that catches up with you later. So learn these coping mechanisms early rather than later. Um, I also want to just remember and remind people that you can remember a time in the past that you have felt like this. You feel less than, not good enough, overwhelmed. Remember that it passes. It does pass. You get to the other side and find the strength to get through this moment in time by thinking about a moment in time in the past that you survived that might have even been harder,
Yeah.
right? It's that strong alter ego that we all have in us that we have to find and tap into. Right. So I do that often. I think this feels really bad. This feels really overwhelming. I can't cancel on my clients. And then I go, okay, let's put it in perspective and remember that in the past I've done it and my business is still thriving and it's good and I survived it. And maybe one person was upset and that was probably more their issue than my issue. Right. Perspective. Okay.
Yes.
Talk about number 7.
Plan for it next time. Oh, I went through this literally just last week. I had a client final design presentation, and I have a new-ish team. I have someone that's doing my renderings. I have someone that's helping with quotes and pricing. And I'm during the pandemic, I was doing everything solo. I did not plan well. And I was not thinking that if I have a team I need to give stuff to do, I need to be finished my stuff a week early. And I wasn't. And I was totally panicking and apologetic, and like I felt terrible because these sweet people that are working with me to help support my dream, I'm like emailing them last minute like, "Oh, there's one more change. Oh, don't forget this thing." And thank goodness the client canceled the meeting, had to reschedule, and it was like, "Oh, thank
Oh,
goodness." Which I
yes.
mean, that's where look at the calendar and cancel. It's like I got lucky that they had to reschedule, but I think I would have had to. All that to say, that made me go, "Whoa, I can't do this again." If I think I can do a detailed design in 4 weeks, when it was just me, it didn't matter if I had to work a couple hours after the kids went to bed or put a little extra time in. When there is a team, when there are other people that are depending on my decisions, I can't do that in 4 weeks. It needs to be 6. And so I actually used the day the client canceled to really try to pull myself out of the forest, get the 1,000-foot view of the trees from above, and figure out, what does my timing look like? What does week 1 of a project look like? What do I need to get done by week 3 so that my team can work on their stuff week 4 and 5 and that sort of thing? And it's hard to find the time to do that. And the reason I screwed that up so badly was because I got too deep in it and I was not working on my business. I was not giving myself the margin, and I was completely in reactive panic. I got to get this done mode.
Yes.
Just being able to pull myself out for an hour and go, all right, little like a come to Jesus moment here. This isn't working. We have to fix it. I
Right.
am feeling so much better about walking into this next time with a new client and how I'm going to time things out. You can plan for these things. It
Yes.
is okay to tell a client it's going to take 6 weeks to get X done. If they balk, if they complain, they may not be your client. But telling them you can do it in 3 weeks and killing yourself for it and living with anxiety and stress and overworking your people who are there to support you, you can't you can't survive like that as a business
You
owner.
can. It's gonna catch up with you, and it's just not smart. It's just not smart.
True.
Right. Let's just break it. You know me, I break it down to the simplest possible equation. It's not smart. You have to give yourself enough time. If you think
Yeah.
it's gonna take 3 weeks, make it 6. If you think it's gonna take 4, make it 8. Under promise, over deliver. If you get it
Yes.
done early, then you say I'm done early, but look on your calendar and make sure you give yourself time. And so I hear people, even while I'm talking in my head, I hear, but I need to make more money. So I need to do more. You're going to make less money in the long run if you are unorganized and overwhelmed, because it is going to come across to your clients
Yeah.
every time, whether you believe it or not. Your body language, the way you speak, everything, it's going to come across. And in the end, it's going to screw you because you're not going to get the referrals and you're not going to get the amazing experience for your clients that they deserve. So if you're dealing with overwhelm, go back and listen to this from the beginning. These are solid tips that truly Lesley and I use in our own lives, from crying to hiring and
All true.
everything in between, because you have to release that stress once in a while. You can't sit and overwhelm for too long. It will affect you. So when I tell someone, take a week off from work without anyone knowing you're taking a week off from work, it's because if you don't, your body's going to force you to take off a week, because you're going to get sick,
Yeah.
you're going to fall apart, and then you're going to be not in a state to help yourself. So being proactive is why I wanted to do this video today. Be proactive to help yourself. Hire in advance, look at your life and go, where do I need help? And it's okay to ask for help. We're not super women and super men. We are actually just human.
Yep.
Human. Hard. I remember one time someone said to me, and it was in the throes of me juggling really a ton of shit with my kids. And he just looked at me, and it was a therapist, and he said, you do realize you're human, right? And I
Hmm.
started to cry. I was like, no, no, I don't accept that.
Yep.
I can do it all. And he's like, no, you actually can't. And I thought, you know what? I got to start teaching this, because he was right. You can't, right? You need help.
Yeah.
whether it be your family, your partner, your friends, your people you hire, get the help you need. Don't sit and overwhelm. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hearing the most of right now is people being overwhelmed. So decide you don't do overwhelm and do some of the tips that Lesley and I talked about today and let us know how it goes. And if you have any other tips that you use that we didn't mention today, put them below. Help each other.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're feeling like you have so much to do that you can't handle it? What do you do? Post below. So thank you, Lesley. Now I'm going to go run to the vet with my poor sick dog.
I'm gonna go figure out why my son kept barging in and trying to ask me questions during a live. That is great.
Okay. So there you go, everyone. We're living it live, and we hope you're all doing well. Share your tips below. Let's help everyone. All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Lesley.